How does suspension of disbelief factor into a great opening?
A great opening is extremely important in terms of how quickly your visitor or audience member buys into the world that you're creating. And as much as, it really starts from the very, very first moment of how when you think about like how you walk down a path to get to the experience, or, the door that you open, or the person that greets you. I think that every single detail and element that leads you to the main experience is something that helps to create that suspension of disbelief. And, in my book, I talk about the Walt's Haunted Mansion and how you think about the fact that like the pavement that you walk on, the graveyard that you go through, the wrought iron gate, the cast members that greet you and have that tone. It's immediately you get a sense that you're no longer in the place that you were just moments before in. And I think that being able to think about a story in all of those elements, not just telling a story verbally or a story that's written, to think about how you create this immersive environment that makes you believe you are in a different place. When you think about going to travel to a different country, for example, the moment you get off a plane and go through the airport and, get into a taxi, whatever it is, and arrive at a place, immediately you get a sense of it's a different people, different culture, a different language, a different way of doing things, a different sounds, different smells, different textures, different temperature. Every time I think about creating an immersive story world, I think about traveling, because that's one of my greatest passions in life, is to immerse myself in different countries and different cultures. And when you think about how every time you do travel to a new country or a completely different place, there is this sense of excitement, anticipation, and adventure. And your visitor wants that 100%. They paid for your experience, maybe it's free, whatever, but, they're committed to your experience for that time period. And the better you can create that sense of place and to create that belief that they are truly walking into this world and this environment that you're creating, and making it so seamless and consistent so that the pattern doesn't break, because as humans, we are pattern recognizers. So if you are in a time period that's supposed to be the 1800s, and then you see some modern technology on the wall, it immediately takes you out, immediately. So how do you think about every single detail and element that takes and transports you and your audience member into a place that they are willingly able to suspend their disbelief and enter your world, and willingly and openly want to participate and play and engage in it, then you've done your job well as a storyteller. And that's something, a lot of different mediums are really exploring and really trying to find ways in which to immerse audience members and visitors in new and unique ways. And, I have to say video games do it very well, from their inception until now, just seeing it evolve, and how as a player you get to really immerse yourself in that story world immediately. That's something that a lot of immersive storytellers can really think about when they think about creating that world. You think about video games and how immediately you are a character who has a role in this world, and you have agency, and whatever action you take has consequences. you know, whether you turn left or right or follow this character or not follow that character and go somewhere else, all of these things have these multi-branching stories and narratives that you as a player can follow. And that's something that's very exciting in the immersive storytelling world to explore. And, you know, a really great example is Sleep No More in New York City, where you do have this deconstructed narrative of Macbeth. And you can follow these characters in different rooms, and you follow a character in their storyline, and you can explore a room on your own. You can meet people. There's this sense of mystery and exploration and discovery that feels very, very unique. And I'm excited to see more and more of that. How can people really push the boundaries of what immersive storytelling is, and how can you really involve not only yourself as a participant, but the people around you to create something that feels like a shared narrative, that together you're experiencing and that you're connecting on a deeper, meaningful level with complete strangers. I think that's some of the greatest magic that I see in immersive storytelling, is that you're able to find that human connection that many times in our own lives, maybe we've lost.
And you said two words that stuck out to me too, mystery and discovery. And I started to think about for myself why I like certain stories. And I think that that's a huge component. And you want to talk about being present in something when our mind is going like that.
Right. And I think that, you know, as humans, we want to make sense of the world around us. And that's why, you know, mysteries and, you know, crime stories, murder mysteries, all of that, we want to go down that rabbit hole because we want to understand, you know, we want to find a reason for why people do the things they do. Would I do the same thing if I were in that same situation? Like all of these what ifs, right? And what ifs and what really happened, and, you know, what more can I discover? What more can I find if I follow that, you know, path? Like, that's why a story like Alice in Wonderland, right, is so captivating to us, because it's really following a character that's brave enough to go on that adventure, and for us to follow along on that journey and to really discover what it means when you are brave, when you are fearless, when you do meet strange characters in your life, all of these things. I think like there's an inner child in all of us that has that curiosity and that desire to discover and explore the world around us.
What are some great openings in immersive storytelling?
Oh boy.
When you talked about the greeting, it had me even thinking about even walking into a restaurant in some sense is like, there's a little bit of storytelling, but you talk about greeters and just taking you immediately into that world and knowing that you've left one world and going into another.
Yeah.
You know,
There's one experience that I have to call out, is called The Nest in Los Angeles, and unfortunately they're closing soon. So I think people have a few weeks to book it before the production closes down. But it's an immersive world where, you know, you go into this building, and one of the first things they do is put you into a really old rickety elevator, and you go up on this, you know, journey that very curious, very mysterious, and you don't know what's really going on. You go up, just you and one other person goes up on this rickety elevator, and you're basically told in a letter that you've inherited a storage unit. And so you go through the storage unit, and piece by piece, you uncover the story of this woman's life. She has recently passed away, and through a very clever medium, which is just old school cassette tapes that you put into a cassette player, in each of the rooms, there's actual activities that you're doing, an action that you're taking to discover this woman's life, and everything from like you hear her voice from childhood to when she's an older woman. I think they really cleverly put that together. These two former Imagineers who put this experience together. That was a really great opener for me, a really memorable one where you really feel transported and you do suspend your disbelief to really explore this creepy, in fact, a creepy environment for you to really uncover the story of this woman's life.
That's fascinating. So you said it's closing down soon?
Yeah, in a few weeks.
Well,
in a few weeks.
Forever?
Forever, but they're probably going to do other projects. But for now, it's it was running for a few months. Maybe, I don't know. Don't quote me on it. It was running for a few months, but it was a really clever way to tell a story in a very contained and controlled environment. And the only thing that you're given is a tape recorder and a flashlight. And so you're going into this very immersive, a hallway of a storage unit. And at one point you're developing film, to look at some clues, to open a lock, like all of these things. And you feel really emotionally invested to find out really the story of what happened to this woman who left behind the storage unit for you.
Wow, that's fascinating. So you get this letter from like a barrister or an attorney or whatever, and it says you're the beneficiary of this estate.
Yeah, I think it was you won the storage unit.
Oh, you won.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay. Interesting. And so then do you see parts of her life, not just here?
Yeah, and it's all out of order too. So it's a non-linear storytelling, and
That's brilliant.
yeah. So they really did a great job in putting that together and really thinking about this is another way. Like when you think about like you don't have to have millions of dollars to create an immersive story. You simply use what's around you to best represent the feeling that you want in creating this place. So The Nest, really, I definitely recommend that